Hi, salwete Skipuli. Because I couldn't be there, I had to leave early for my wife's doctor's appointment. Um, I wanted to make sure that you still got the opportunity to review the NLE that you guys just worked on. You worked on last night through question 30, and hopefully you have checked those answers with your partner and then done 31 through 40 based off the translation. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've put the scores on the board, right, for all the different teams. Be honest as we go through this. You are going to have to listen very carefully because we're not going to rewind or anything. This is just going to go. Just make sure you listen as we go through, and we're going to go through from 11 all the way through 40. Okay. When we are done, if you would like to just kind of record your score on your paper, and then if you could record your score for on the board as well, and somebody write "do not erase," I'll check and see who won on Monday when I come back. Okay. So we're going to start at number 11 here. We have Menelaus rex Spartae uxorem pulchram recipere cupiuit. Okay, so here they're asking about the adjective pulchram. They're saying pulchram agrees with. This is a pretty simple question. We look at pulchram, right? Adjective, subject, root, nouns, case, number, and gender. You look at pulchram. Pulchram is accusative. You need to find something else accusative. The only answer that is accusative is D, uxorem. So 11 would be D. This sentence reads, Menelaus, the king of Sparta, desired to have a beautiful wife. Okay. 12 is just a vocab question. Mille. And while you may be tempted to pick D, 1 million. Mille, like millennium, would be 1,000 years. And M, right, in Roman numerals stands for 1,000, and that's why your answer here is C for 12. Therefore, 1,000 ships sought, so 1,000 Greek ships sought Helen. 13, inter viros Graecos erat magnus, and then you need something. So inter viros Graecos, inter means between or among. So here, among Greek men, he was a magnus something, right? Well, here my verb is erat. The verb erat is a linking verb, which means that on either side of it, I need a nominative. So here you want to say he was a great leader or there was a great leader, and you want a dukes for 13. Okay. 14 is just a vocab question. You have wos. Wos, only one of these answers works. It's du, right? There's no y'all option, right? But it's you plural. So 14, certainly you heard the fabulam, the story about great Achilles. 15 was a tough question. Okay, so 15 reads Magno cum gaudio pugnat et multos hostes necat. All right, and if we translate this, gaudio, you might not have known what it meant, but it means joy. So this translates to he fights with great joy and kills many enemies. Which choice is closest in meaning to the underlined phrase? So it's saying what can we replace Magno cum gaudio with out of A, B, C, or D? Okay. Now, the hard part here is we haven't talked about this a ton. We did talk about it in the first quarter, but he fights with great joy. The way that I would want to replace that is I'd want to say he fights like joyfully or happily. And in order to do that, I'd have to make an adjective an adverb. And we talked about this. In order to make an us adjective and adverb, like eratus, for example, angry, I take that us off and I add an e, erate, angrily. So here, if I want to replace this with an adverb, I'd have to choose B, lite, and that is your answer. 16, quam teriti sunt hostes contra Achillem. We talked about this yesterday. Quam, right? When I see quam, especially if it's not a question, it is likely next to a adjective, and that's what I have here with teriti. And being next to that adjective, it's going to be a exclamation of excitement. How frightening or how terrifying are the soldiers, or sorry, how terrified are the soldiers against Achilles? So your answer here was A. 17, philios. Pretty simple question here. You're looking at that. That's accusative. So A would have been dative, B would have been genitive, D would have been ablative. The only one that could have been accusative was C. Trojan mothers love their sons. Your answer was C for 17. 18, you had noli necare. You shouldn't even need to read the sentence, right? Noli means don't or do not. This is a command, an imperative, and you would have gone with A. Every mother declares, Achilles, don't kill my son. 19, sed ira viri blank magna. So here I have, but the anger of the man, something great. And I'm probably want to say the anger of the man is great, right? That would be B. Pretty simple there. 20, when a teacher helps a Latin student, the student should respond probably by saying thank you, which would have been B, gratias tibi ago, or simply just gratias for short. 21, to the fairest, beware of Greeks, even bearing gifts, the face that launched 1,000 ships. All of these, right, refer to the Trojan War, A. Which body parts are on your caput? Your caput is your head. So you had hands, eyes, feet, or chest. Your answer was B, oculi. Who attempted to drive his father's sun chariot across the sky but was unable to control the horses? D, Phaethon. 24, the Pantheon was a Roman. Well, you're looking for temple, and C would be that answer, templum. Insurgent and resurrection derive from the Latin verb meaning. I got to look at those words. I see surg and sur, right? That clearly comes from surgo, surgere, which means to rise. A would have been your answer. In which room of a villa romana would a coquus prepare cena? So where would a cook prepare dinner? Likely in the culina, D, the kitchen. 27, which letter on the map is to the right, represents the Apennines. Now remember, sometimes we call the Apennines the Apennine spine. So 27, you are looking for the one that runs down the spine of Italy. Your answer was C. D was the Alps. B were the Pyrenees, and A were the Atlas Mountains. So your answer there was C. 28, when the kicker missed the game-winning field goal, he became a blank to the fans of his own team. You had to translate these. So Deus ex machina, God of a machine from a machine, probably not. B, in loco parentis, this means like in place of a parent. It's like how schools act when you're in school. Pater patria means father of the country. None of that is correct. He missed the game-winning field goal. They probably don't want him around anymore. He is a persona non grata, a person not welcome. The answer would be C. Which god worked at a forge under Mount Etna and had an unfaithful wife? Mount Etna we talked about the other day, right? Active volcano in Sicily. And because of the fire spewing out, they believed that the blacksmith god lived under that, and that was D, Vulcan. When you came down to the passage, okay, this was, I thought, a pretty easy passage. There were a couple tougher questions, so we'll look at that. Number 30, in line 1, Dea Primae Lucis reveals that Aurora was the goddess of, you actually didn't even need to go up for this, she's the goddess of Primae Lucis, first light. Your answer would have been D, the dawn. In lines 2 to 3, Trojani cupiebat Aurora. So we'll go back up here. Trojani corpus in rogum posuerunt. So the Trojans placed the body into the pyre, but the mother did not wish to watch her son. It was B. She could not look at her son's body. To whom does Aurora speak in lines 3 through 7? So I'm going to start at 3. Aurora genuflected, right? She knelt before the feet of the king of the gods. There's your answer. It is C, Jupiter. In lines 4 to 5, non sum petto. How does Aurora describe herself? She says, non sum, I am not powerful among the gods. She is D, humble. 34, you actually don't even need to go back up for. Neque means always the same thing. Neither nor. Your answer was C. Now, if you did go up, neither nor was the only one that made sense. I seek, peto, neither temples nor altars. 35, in lines 5 and 6, debes te dabam. Why does Aurora feel she deserves a favor? So let's go up and find it. So debeo means ought, or owe, like a debit card. So you ought to dare, or sorry, not to dare. You ought to give me a favor because ego, I, dabam, I was giving, or I gave you first light every day. So she believes she deserves a favor. C, she brought a new dawn each day. Line 7, the best translation of lewa dolorem matris. I actually didn't even need to go up for this either, right? You will lighten the pain would have been future. I would have seen like a bis or something. Mother lightens the pain would have had mother in the nominative, but that short is clearly genitive. And then the mother will lighten the pain. Also, mother would have been nominative. So your answer here also with leware meaning to lighten, and we've simply cut the re off. Lewa means lighten a mother's pain. 37, line 8. What was happening? I'm running out of time, so I'm probably gonna have to make a second video here. 37 in line 8, what was happening when Jupiter agreed to Aurora's request? I have 10 seconds, so I'm just going to give you the answer. It was B, the funeral pyre was collapsing. Okay, I'm going to make a second video here real quick for 38, 39, and 40.